What is something you never imagined would turn you on until it happened? This guy once murmured "good girl" to me as I came in. Now I literally can't hear the words without becoming immediately aroused. What the frick? My very basic take. I remember as a kid wondering why hookers strippers would always be portrayed in fishnets. Thought it was such a dumb piece of clothing. As an adult, that's definitely no longer the case. A woman who speaks with a Scottish accent. I'm not sure I understand why. Having my hair pulled. As a kid, I always had very, very short hair. When I moved out, I decided on a whim to let it grow. Eventually it got long enough that I could put it in a ponytail. Then, one day at work, for reasons entirely unknown to me, one of my coworkers reached out and gave it a firm tug. Surprised the hell out of me. I asked a friend of mine, "You're a gentleman. You're not going to tell us what you like in the bedroom?" His response, "I will tell you this. I'm a gentleman everywhere, except in the bedroom." Crush activated. I've said this before, but when a guy takes his glasses off when we are making out, it's like they're getting in the way of our passion, so they have to go. I have to go make out with my bespectacled boyfriend now. Lol. Strangely enough, the biggest turn-on ever for me was the simplest thing in the world. My girlfriend at the time, back when I was in high school, kissed me on the cheek as she was getting off the bus, and I still remember it to this day. It felt so genuine that I can still remember it over 20 years later. No other kiss has ever done it for me. Okay, so this is definitely weird. I hate my sides being touched unless I know you/trust you, but when it is that person who I know and trust, holy frick. Graze your hands up and down my side and I'm turned on like a mofo. My sexual awakening was one of my friends jokingly pinning me against the wall with my wrists above my head and getting up in my face. Years later, same friend punched me in the arm and it turns out I'm a masochist. Wild coincidence both times. I'm not attracted to her. I guess she just has insane dom energy. Her calligraphy and penmanship. It was so damn accurate and quick at the same time. I couldn't believe someone owned hands like that. Always thought that guys pinning me to the wall was hot, until I found out how hot it was to pin them. Having a praise kink. My husband would call me good girl to be funny when I bring him a drink, grab socks for him or something. He was just being goofy, but started to realize it turned me on, much to my surprise as well. He isn't super kinky by nature, but I had him call me his good girl in bed the other day and we both came super hard. Lol. A friend and I were jokingly recreating a physical fight we had as kids, because we remembered how much we used to fight. He was behind me and put his arm around my neck to choke me and held my hands with the other arm. I accidentally moaned, "He's gay." We couldn't stop laughing. It's a men's cologne, but I don't know the name. The smell is so good that I swear I can probably orgasm from it if I smelled it again. I wish I was kidding, but I'm not. Touching my upper arm, but it's just barely sexually assaulting it. It's so incredibly tingly it gets me every time. I had this hot roommate that did those princess parties things where you dress up as a Disney princess and go to birthday parties. One day I come home and I'm headed to my room and she's about to head out to a princess party. She steps out in full Snow White gear, wig, ruby red lipstick, etc. She turns around and points to her back. "Hey, can you help me with this zipper?" I didn't think I'd be turned on by a Disney princess, and Snow White of all people. Runner up, I've never been into the whole dom sub thing, until I was with a chick who was into it and I didn't realize till I told her to do something while in bed and she replied with a "yes, sir." Sitting really close to me, like our thighs are squeezed together. It's like she can't get enough of me, I guess. Head, scalp, massage. I do not like being touched, so when a new hairstylist just started massaging my head, I kind of started to freak out until, oh man, although I was not physically aroused, the turn on here was not so much sexual, but then again, it felt like what I would expect heroin to feel like. I went a full 22 years of life without ever experiencing the weird pleasure of a head massage. It is amazing. Sorry, so oatmeal. The small of a woman's back poking showing between her shirt and jeans never even came close to entering my brain till I was helping this girl I had a crush on with a project in college. I stepped away for a second to use the bathroom, and when I came back she was faced away from me, reaching across the table for a pencil, and I just stopped and stared for a few moments till she stood back up. As a male I wouldn't expect it, but when someone gently puts both hands on the sides of my torso and they're passing by, obviously not strangers, but when I was in high school there was a girl who would look at me, pat her lap for me to lay my head down, and then give me head scratches. Still think about it every now and then. Shrek's was good, but the head scratches, oh my god, that'll stay with me forever. Licking sucking nipples. My first girlfriend and I were making out. My hands were all over her body, so I was in full honey mode and she lowered her head. I thought, oh boy, the lil homie getting love too. But she stopped by my nips and started licking, and I was stunned. Are you good? She asked. It was this day I learned I had sensitive nips. Holy shoot, I was freaking turbo honey. I tried to be cool and said, yeah, girl, I'm God. She pinched my right nips and I let out a half scream, half moan. After that she would deadass go nipple diving every time we were chilling and making out. He once playfully called me silly girl. It awoke something in me. Seeing my best friend freshly out of the shower, clothed, with wet hair, we are engaged now. I worked with this cute girl once at a cafe, and one day, she came into work late. I had recently been promoted to bar manager, and after she arrived, I mentioned that I would hate to have to write her up. Of course I was joking, since it honestly wasn't that big of a deal and she was a good worker and never really ever late. She looked me straight in the eye and said, "Uh-oh, am I in trouble?" I was astounded at how quickly it turned me on. A stutter. I just want to wrap him in my arms and hold him. Guys, thanks. It makes me feel good. But, I'm an old cantankerous OB with health problems. I'm a bad bet. Coworkers scratched the back and top of my head with those fake ass nails. Nearly burst in a packed restaurant. A guy in university that I had a crush on, but never really spoke to, saw me in a club one night and winked at me from across the room. I knew winks were Shreksy in theory, but I'd never had that kind of reaction to one before. It was game over. I was playing an online game with a longtime female friend of mine and we were using voice chat. We were hiding from an enemy and she started whispering to be goofy. Since I was a kid, I've always felt uncomfortable whenever someone whispered in my ear. It's just always bugged me. I also never understood the appeal of ASMR. Basically a person whispering or making noises through a high-def, dual-channel microphone, but in that moment, her goofy whispering coming through my headphones turned me on so hard. She only did it for a few seconds, but man, I get some of the appeal of ASMR now. It's still weird to me and I'm not into it, but with the right voice, it's kinda hot lol. Men moaning. Holy frick, it turns me on. And when he sticks his tongue in my ear. Frick yeah. Girl at work dropped her towel she was cleaning with. She would fold it in thirds, and T0 it into her apron, so she would have it with her at all times. Swooned. I was trying to be nice and picked it up and tucked it back into her apron when everything went in slow motion as I realized the back of my hand was against her belly. I turned purple and then bolted like an awkward Seinfeld episode. We've been married for 22 years this October. Meeting a person dressed in a very convincing Batman outfit. I don't even like Batman. Have my shirt collar being pulled on by a girl. Didn't know it would get me going bad. Being massaged on my inner thigh and the butt. Girlfriend wanted to show me her current Minecraft world. And when she pulled up her world list, one of them was my name and she got super embarrassed when I saw it. Allowing someone with a dental fetish to clean my teeth. It was extremely erotic and my trips to the dentist haven't been the same since. My guy slightly squeezing my throat. He gently holds my neck while kissing me passionately so he can feel my pulse quicken as we get hot and heavy. Major turn on for us both. I think for me I kinda like the vulnerability aspect. He likes to check my heart rate, because it allows him to physically feel that he is turning me on. Kissing after blowjobs. I had no idea how sexy it would be to kiss a woman right after she gave me head, but that drives me crazy. She stuck her tongue in my ear. She stuck her tongue in my beehole. I read this as something that would turn on you like a freaking favorite pet, family member or club friends. This has all been very confusing. A girl slid her straw under her mask and took a drink, and I find that incredibly hot. I'm just as confused as you guys are. On our first date at my place, maybe like 4 dates in, she saw my Sega Genesis and asked me if I had Sonic. Sonic is my favorite game ever. We skipped watching the movie and played Sonic. She was better than I was, and I was really good. I would have never guessed she had a nerdy side based on her appearance, and that turned me on so much. Eventually I saw her tattoos, and one of them was the Zelda triangle. We are just friends now after a couple-year relationship, but she's been my favorite girl so far. I hated feet until I saw my wife's. They are so cute and round, and it's like a tiny version of her personality. I'm super into them. Slightly risky public play was hanging out with then girlfriend at the park in my truck. Very beautiful park with a river running through it. We were just chatting and sipping on our Sonic drinks when she grabbed my schlong through my Levi's. I wasn't sure what to think at first, but then we started getting into a heated smooch battle. When my Dongus Maximus came out, and her mouth was all over it. Have not been more anxious and aroused in my life. Gave her the neatest 5-minute wine ring I could manage.